The Darkness at Thunder Mountain, Chapter 3. Geo's stark blue eyes stared straight at Weston, nearly piercing his very soul. He was captivated by every word she said. I don't have much time, so listen closely, Weston. You have been called to a very important responsibility. Remember this in your heart, my dear boy, as you go through many trials over the next dark days. The answer to the key is to find the thunder before the rain. No sooner had Geo finished her sentence, she was gone, just like the flame that had immediately dissipated outside near the sagebrush. Well, she was nice, Lacie said calmly. There was something about Geo that made Weston and Lacie feel a little more at peace. Well, at least for a minute, until Weston started ruminating on Geo's words of wisdom. A great responsibility? Weston questioned. An important responsibility, Lacie corrected. Weston was perplexed. What does all this mean? What's going to happen over the next few days? What are we supposed to do? Weston was distressed. You mean, what are you going to do? Lacie corrected him again. Thankfully, the flashlight was still on, offering light in what could have been a very dark cabin. Weston waved the flashlight back and forth along the wall, almost in a trance. As he shook the flashlight more quickly, the light almost seemed continuous. Lacie started to get anxious. Seriously? Are we just going to stand here and pretend you have a lightsaber? Weston laughed. At least they could have a sense of humor in a quite serious situation. Okay, we need to get going, Weston said. Go where? Lacie questioned. We are sticking to the plan. We just need to remember what that Lady Geo said and be careful. But we really need to find Mom and Dad, Weston insisted. The door was still open following the visit from the angelic Geo, so Weston grabbed the backpack, felt his pocket to assure his knife was still on his person, and headed out the cabin door with his sister following within tripping distance behind him. The fire was still out and void of any indication that it had ever been burning. Weston shone the flashlight towards the brush to see if it was moving in even the smallest way. Both siblings stood in anticipation, staring at the sagebrush at a distance, making sure it wasn't going to start shaking violently again. It didn't, and Weston and Lacie headed towards the property gate to set out to find their parents. Remember, it's only 3 miles down the mountain onto the paved roads, Weston assured Lacie. That's far. Remember when we had to do that fun run at the school? I only ran a mile and it felt like 10, Lacie complained. Well, what other choice do we have? You just need to stop complaining and take it one step at a time. Think about our ancestors who crossed the plains. They walked like 100 miles a day, Weston said as his stride widened. He was trying to be stalwart and set a good example for his little sister, but the phrase dark days kept coming to mind. What does that mean, dark days? As they continued walking, the only sound they could hear was the crunching of the dirt beneath their shoes. Sometimes one of them would kick a rock and it would bounce across the dirt road, making a sharp rolling sound. The smell of dust filled the air around them. This summer had been drier than previous years, and as they walked and kicked up dirt, the dust took flight like a friendly cloud hanging around them. This sucks, Wes, Lacie expressed. Don't say that, it's rude. And I thought I asked you to be positive, Weston replied. You didn't say to be positive. You just told me about our ancestors and how they walked like 1,000,000 miles a day and they all died. I never said that, Weston shrieked. Just be quiet, please. And for a minute, Lacie was. Weston took about 10 steps forward until he heard only one set of shoes crunching the dirt of the road. He turned around. Lacie? Weston called up the road from where they'd come. It was empty and dark. Lacie was gone.